first question would be, what is your experience? What experience have you had in the creative industry?
Well, now I started. I wanted at school. I wanted to be a doctor. I was told, suggested by my parents, that's a good job to do. All through school life, I've ended up. But when I got into the sixth form, having done school play, I was very fortunate. I had a really good director at school, and I did a Merton Cathedral in Kerriford Cathedral, and I thought this is what I really want to do. And he was just so invigorating in his approach to direction. He's just inspiring is the word. I decided to change from that kind of theatre, the opera, to the other kind of stage theatre, which is on stage and acting. So that's what I wanted to do really. So, and then all sights set on getting into drama school, which I wanted to do, and I trained at New College of Speech and Drama.
What was the first piece of theatre that really got you loving it?
Well, when I was about 6 or 7, I did an amateur production with my parents, and I had to be rude to my father on stage, which I loved doing, because it was quite a good play. I had to tell him how to shout at me and then refuse to do something. And because that got the audience all laughing because they knew that, and then that was so. I was brought up like that. Then my father, we did some operatic work as well when I was quite young.
How did you get into Godspell?
Because I was my last year at college, I had to do what everyone does: pay for the agencies, pay for the theatres, every theatre in the country. Tick off, I've sent that one. It costs a lot of money, but you just do it. Send a photograph, send your interest accompanying letter, and hopefully you'll get a reply. You get loads and loads of refusals. Thank you very much for applying. Do try again next year or whatever. But then, sure enough, I got a phone call from a director of the Marlow Theatre Canterbury who was taking a gospel out to Africa, to the National Theatre of Kenya in Nairobi. Would I like to audition? I said yes. Went down to London, Spotlight offices, auditioned, got the part, and flew out and did that. I was out there for about 3 months. So that was really lovely, So that was having said that, I did go to the Belgrave Theatre in Coventry. I literally walked in and said, "You got any jobs going?" And as it turned out, Roger Redfarne, the director, was walking down and he heard me and said, looked at me and sort of nodded to the technical stage manager and said, you need a student ASM, don't you? And I said, "Oh yeah." I said, "Well, that's fine. I live in Coventry. It's not far. I live in Knowle, which is Lapford's, about 15 miles from Coventry." And he said, "I said that's fine. Yeah, and come and when can you start?" I said, "Well, yeah, whenever." And I did it with Kim Hartman, who was the blonde in Hello Hello. Do you remember the blonde girl? She was a student ASM, and I was a student ASM at the same time as her, and we got paid £2 a week. They took national insurance as well, so it was £1.49 actual cash. And my parents had to help, obviously, So I actually had a car as well to drive in, and I did that for a year. That was quite good to get the equity card as well, because you have to be a member of equity. So.
What was the best memory you've had from doing Godspell?
Well, obviously the best. Going to Kenya was a real experience, to do it there with all sorts of people, including national white people who'd gone out to, because there's a Donovan Moore Theatre in Nairobi, very sort of colonial way of running still happened there, and some people from there, but also some younger people, some younger sort of white people, some obviously black Kenyans, who were in the show as well. So fabulous, real mix, and it was a great show to do. But then coming back to this country, doing the tour in fully professional was good, because I was then on a proper standard equity contract, did the tour, and then obviously having the fantastic opportunity of taking over the lead to go into the West End for a run at the Phoenix Theatre, Charing Cross Road. And that was great, because that was just, once you're doing that, it's fantastic.
So would you say that, from the experience you've had of the industry in Britain, is that a lot different to what it was like in Kenya?
Oh yeah, very much so, because it's well established, isn't it? The only probably, if you can say well established, is New York or London, and obviously the French. But it depends what kind of theatre, because France has got lots of different styles of theatre and things, lovely theatres over there. But in Kenya, it's very much a select audience, and the National Theatre of Kenya was predominantly, and the Donovan Moore, which was a repertory theatre, were predominantly there for, I would say, for the white people. And then certainly there was still very much a white, like the expats in France type thing. You know what I mean? Don't forget, black people that would go to the theatre, but it was not so much an established thing as it probably is nowadays. So.
What was one of the hardest parts of doing Godspell?
Well, it does affect you doing the show. If you've got any religious beliefs, then playing the part of Jesus, it was quite something. And it's extremely, very moving as a story, of course. And I suppose that the last, there's two bits really. I mean, singing Day by Day was very moving because the girl has to sing the Day by Day to you as Jesus, and you're thinking it makes you feel a bit. There's that moment because it's purely the song is about love, and it's the kind of love which is worldly, like it's a spiritual love, if you like. And then later on, and the Where Are You Going, when the girl sings By My Side, and she wants to go with him because, and that again is quite a moving moment, because at that moment the guy John the Baptist stands up and reads a bit from the scripture, and then 30 pieces of silver speech. You know, he's going to betray him and all that sort of stuff. So.
Would you say that it was like quite a physically demanding?
Very. It's incredibly demanding. I've got a picture I'll show you later which shows me, and you've just got to be fit. You have really got to be. You've got to aim to kill yourself. You know what I mean? Because the energy is high pad all the time, and you sweat buckets. I mean, literally. I mean, if you've got two shows of, I mean, I was doing it with Sue Pollard was the Turn Back Oh Man part. You know, the Turn Back Oh Man. That was the second half. She was absolutely what a character. I mean, just totally nutty, but I mean she's so energetic, this and that, you know. And the show sometimes run for about 2 hours 10 minutes, but sometimes under 2 hours. It's going so quickly, and all the gags and the tricks and the mimes and the stuff like that has to be so precise, and it goes ding and it goes into the next parable, and you've got to keep the audience has got to be kept going. What's happening next and this and that, and then when the stage goes blood red and John the Baptist says, "Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you and say all manner of evil against you falsely," and there's that moment when he looks down, and it's incredible because the audience, it's all been happy up to then, suddenly poof, and there's that and it's suddenly realised, oh, this is not, there is a serious side to the story, and then they've all changed at that point because they can't believe that John the Baptist has just said that, and from that moment on he's become Judas. That's quite a moving moment, really. So.
What pressures and hardships have you found from performing and
being in the professional theatre? There's lots of stories about that. Somebody's walking down, a friend sees an actor walking down the street carrying a makeup. They say, "Oh, hello, are you working?" "No, I'm moving." I mean, that's it. You just go where the work is. You know, that sort of thing. So really, you are waiting all the time for work. But you get used to it. You know, it's not like you can't compare it to what we call a proper job or a day job, because you're always waiting for the phone to go, and that's the agent saying you've got an audition tomorrow. But you've got to be ready. You're ready for that. You've got your song rehearsed. You've got your backing track every now and then, or you've got your music for the piano player. Used to be, here's the sheet music, and the rehearsal pianist has to play the song that you're going to sing. And I was doing Something's Coming from West Side Story, which is notoriously difficult. Da 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 da. Could be, who knows? And could they play? You know, and you've got to sing through them playing it wrong. But you know that. But if you can do that, that's plus points to you, because they know that you've had to fight a piano player. So the musician or the MD of the show might say, no, he knows what he's doing. He's got musicality. Give him a chance. We'll give him a recall. So. Yeah.
Were you ever put off by the lifestyle of an actor and how it's not very set in the jobs that you get?
Yeah, there are times when you get really real downers and you think, oh my God, I've got to, because the jobs you have to do to fill in, you know, you will do. I used to be temping agencies, used to have to go and work behind a bar somewhere or do this and that. I used to do a waiting job, waiting at tables. I mean, don't forget, they're good jobs. There's nothing, you know, as jobs, but it's not what you really want to do. I had to go and work in a shop. I had to go and work in a department store, and there's a lot of standing around. I'm thinking about, are you being served? You know what I mean? Standing around and right. Would you like to go for coffee now? You get your 15-minute coffee break, and you think, and you try and. It's only 40. I've got another minute yet. You know, if you have to go back and stand around, and it's just. I just didn't want to do it, you know. But and then somebody came in who was an actor. And they knew from when I'd been working, I knew then that I'd have to get out and do something. I couldn't do it anymore. Because it's the excitement, it's the variety.
Yeah.
Exciting.
So before theatre, who was what was your inspiration? Who were your role models?
I think really, I always wanted to be in. I wanted to work in the Royal Shakespeare Company. I've always loved Shakespeare, and at school I did that, and I played in Shakespeare plays at school as well. And I auditioned for RADA. I remember went down to London to do that, which was very frightening because that was before I went to college. And I did it, and you walked in and you had to walk. I had to walk up some stairs. Was it up some stairs? No, some downstairs. I can't remember if it's up or down. Stairs. Walk into the room and the lights are on you like that. You can't see the people you're auditioning for. And that, out of the gloom comes this voice. What's your name? I said, Tony Rickell. I said, what are you going to do for us? And I had to do a Shakespeare, this and that. When you're ready. Did the speech. I did a bit from Henry IV Part 2. And then thank you very much. And that was it. And thank you. So down and go out of the room, and didn't get in it. No, but just to auditioners do. But you have to be quite hard-skinned doing auditions. If they don't get the job, just wait for the next one. You see people, what are you doing? Are you working? No, I'm not, just auditioning at the moment. Or dancers say, no, I'm just doing class. Because you've got to be fit, ready to go and do the job when it comes up. So.
How did you get through the rejections?
You get hardened to it. I mean, you just have to say, all right, okay, fine. There'll be another audition, And then the agent says, you phone your agent, no, I don't think, have you heard? No, you didn't get it up, never mind.
So you mentioned the atmosphere in theatre.
Yeah.
What did the audience kind of bring to that?
Right, well the good thing about theatre as well is of course the rehearsal period. Because in the rehearsal period you get to know your cast and you get to know them really, really well. And you almost like a family situation, so you know what they're thinking, you know how they work. It's a two-way process between people you work with. So when it comes to the actual performance, it's a big build-up. Then you get the dress rehearsal, or go through the technical, which is pretty mundane. It takes forever because you've got everything right, lights and the sound and so on and so forth. Then working with the props, and then eventually when you get the costumes, the whole thing is a journey. And when you get the first night, everyone worries about that. Then you get the second night, feeling it didn't go as well, but then as you get into the run you start appreciating the audiences, and every performance is different, so some good ones, some bad ones, and it's sometimes the audiences are really with you, it's electric, you can feel the atmosphere and the playing off the audience. But some matinees would dreadfully get a few people propped up in the, they've come in out of the cold just to watch them, and there's no energy coming off them, so it's really hard work to keep it moving, things like that. But generally speaking, live theatre is good because of the special relationship we have with the others on stage and the audience. So it's a three-way thing.
What is the one thing that you enjoy most about the theatre?
I think the friendliness, the family feel, the fraternity. Because once you're in theatre, you work with people, you never forget them because you always know. I mean, I remember when Sue Pollard being very loud, as she was then, down Villiers Street. She was by the tube at the bottom of the Charing Cross tube, and she screamed up the road, "Doan, how are you?" and ran up, and everyone's going, oh, and she, because I hadn't seen her for ages. But it's just you get that kind of bond with people you work with. Once friendship lasts a long time, So.
What rewards did you gain from working in the theatre industry and performing?
Right. Well, there's lots of little perks and things like who's coming to see the play. Sometimes you get very well-known people coming to see the play. I remember when I did Oliver at the Albury for a couple of years as well, playing. I understudied Bill Sykes. Had to go on for Bill Sykes as well. But we had Sheikh Yamani, and that's Arab, in one of the boxes. He'd come in because he was over in London. So he's in tonight. It's all that kind of thing. But I did another one, and I had a charity night of 100 stars. That was at the Dominion Tottenham Court Road, Dominion Theatre, I think, and that was playing with lots of well-known people. I mean, the royalty came to it. Obviously, we had to shake Princess Margaret, bless her hand at the end. Your Royal Highness, I think we said. So we all had a line-up, and that was everyone was there. Oliver Tobias was there. Koo Stark. People that time were very well known, very much in the media. So it's a bit like the awards, if you know what I mean. And we had to do an extract of the play, which is it's just great. And all these different shows, just like a variety show, awards theatre. So that's a memory thing for me.
How has the process? Not process. How has the theatre industry changed over time?
It's changed incredibly, dramatically. It's changed because when I trained, repertory theatre was very much still the training ground, and people went into the season from that theatre or whichever theatre it was. So it could be Scarborough, it could be Leicester, it could be up in Ayr. I was also in Hornchurch in Essex and all sorts of places you go and do rep. But I mean now, because the theatres have struggled to maintain their stability and their place in society, insofar that money's been taken away, they struggle to get the grants and this and that to keep it going. And often you get a director, a resident director, but the play will be, or they'll get a director in and they'll recast every particular production. So when they're planning the theatre's performances for the year, then somebody will come up and do a play there. It used to be you'd go for the season and there would be a series of plays and you'd be their resident. A bit like the Royal Shakespeare Company is, I suppose, but but now it's much more difficult to do that, and I think because of restrictions financially. So quite often you'd have a director would direct that play, then there'd be something else comes in, then there'd be an amateur show, then there'd be another one touring, travelling around in association with another theatre because it's cheaper to do it in that way. There's still good, the theatres, the productions are still pretty top notch, But it's just a different way of doing it. But it hasn't got the same kind of feeling of going, because being part of the rep company for the summer, you get to know everybody very well, and it's just quite good. And often you go back to the next season.
What do you think draws people into going to work in the creative industry in theatre?
I think it's got to be in your blood. You've got to want to do it. So people just say, "I've always wanted to do it. I've got to do it." And the people who matter are the people who say, "Look, if it's what you want to do, you're going to do it anyway. So you go and do it. If you don't," I think really as well. We said when I was at college, people said, "Are you going to try and go professionally?" And I said, "Well, I'll give it so many years, and then if not, I'll do something else. I'll either teach or I'll go and do something completely different." So, and I tried it, and I was lucky, and so I got the work, and I did 15, 18 years in theatre, and before in the entertainment industry.
What advice would you give to a young person wanting to go into the industry?
Well, think very carefully about it, but follow your instincts, I'd say. Follow your heart a lot, but I mean, you need to think carefully about what the implications are for you. Have you got any backups? They always say, there's always try and get your qualifications. I would say try and make sure but because you never know what's going to happen. Basically, that's the thrill of it, though. You don't know what the future's going to bring, really. And then suddenly you think, wow, I'm glad I did that. Or it's glad I haven't done that, And so it's a bit like that, really. So advice is, if you want to do it, think very carefully about it, follow your heart. If it's really in your blood, just go for it and do it, see how you get on. Because if you don't do it, you'll regret it. Mm-hmm. That's the truth, isn't it?
So. Would you say it was easier to get into the industry in the past? Is it more exclusive now in modern day?
I don't necessarily think that's true, because actually whoever's looking to cast something, whichever director it is, because nowadays you get all sorts of different types of directors. I mean, back when I started, there were very few women directors. I mean, now there are. It's much more equal, which is good. But they're going to be looking, and they're going to have a specific idea for their production. If you fit the bill, they're going to ask you, "We'd like you to do that part." You go on recommendations as well. What have you done? I was in this, I was in that, and so on and so forth. Hence the CV, which you send up there. And I think, well, we found somebody put in a word for you, because it's wheels within wheels, really. And they always say, sometimes it's nice to be invited to do the part. Would you like to see the script? Yes, all right. If you don't appreciate it, approve of the script. Can I change this bit? It's not enough of me in this scene. That's all you're really sought after. But good representation, a good agent is really important. But agency, the way of casting has changed as well. It's much more high-tech now, and with a change in the technology and the way things run.